Greetings, I'm Sovereign Non here at Castle Stark at OG Foundation in Elodium, and I forgot to do an intro, but the next cut is going to be the first project of the end of the fall. Today is like the first or second day of winter, so the video is all done now, but because there's no intro, this is your intro. So yesterday I enclosed almost all of that tunnel entrance there with insulation panels and foamed them in. And so today what I'm going to do is cut a hole in there for a window and a door. And the window might just be the door, or the door might be more of the panels than the window. I'm not quite sure yet, but the idea is to get it completely capped with insulation, but then also to have at least one window in there so that sunshine can get in there and get some solar gain as well. So now there's a hole in the window to match the hole. I'm just going to put one like window sill type thing in, and then a hinge and some sort of latch, and that's it. And this is what the future electrical tunnel window door thing looks like from the inside. So right now I've just got this, just use like some screws and some wire to tie it closed. And I've got a bit more foaming to do around the edges to clean it up a little bit. But I'm really happy with how that turned out. I was thinking for a time it might not have a window, that it might not have a door, and it's just pretty ideal. I'll just have to seal up around that window a little bit, and then also have access to get up there, and it's still well insulated, and then it'll still get the solar gain, and any sun coming in here for the most part is going to be hitting this thermal mass here, which is just perfect for heating on the other side, but also in here. So I'm just going to do some more spray foam now, clean up. And then from the outside, I didn't like level the wall on the inside. I just tried to like do whatever made sense. And then I just put this on the edge, so it doesn't like, that's where it wants to sit, but it's fine because it's not going to be used very much, and it's probably mostly just going to be tied on the inside. But this is how far it opens, which is great to be able to get past in there. And I got these two hinges. They're almost like work for a stove or something, but one of the residents got those, so those are great use for those. And yeah, just gonna clean up. Hi, On. You like that pretty kitty? Working on test burn number 4 or 5 at this point. I reoriented the chimney to come out the back, and then changed the way that the chimney goes through the wall, cut back the panel a little bit, and made sure all of the metal things are insulated from the wood with rock wool. And so we'll see how it goes this time. Oh, I also plugged these little, I don't know if you can see, but like this little corner piece, there's all 4 corners have little holes, so plugged them with some rock wool, and we'll see how it goes. So the stove seems to be well suited. It's actually pretty deep, and I can take like logs even thicker than that. It's got a thermostat thing on the stove, so you can see even burning big logs, it's staying right into above the creosote level. Though in the beginning I kind of wanted to even build up a little creosote to kind of line the new things, because at different points there was kind of a little bit of leaking coming from there. But it seems that the new installation of the chimney pipe is working well. I feel good about how it's insulated with that rock wool. If a rock wool panel comes down, then it would be a risk, but they're secured pretty well in there, and that can always be repaired. And so this puts out a lot of heat in here. I mean, it's really, really hot in here. And you can see how this unit in here, the heat gets in through that open door, and then this can open. I'm just figuring out the kind of like the door jamb on the outside, but this is just so well insulated in here. There's a good bit of kind of airflow right there as well. That could be opened even more potentially to get better airflow between the two, so that the heat from this thing can really, can really get over there. But it naturally wants to rise, and it will work its way right up to the hole in the ceiling, to the loft area above. So it's a really cool little unit here, and I just troubleshooted the hot water shower there, so that should be working, though I haven't tested it yet. It's totally junk shower handle. I had to take it apart. I had to like drill it in 2 different places and then like glue it back together. It was just awful, but it just like impeded the water flow, and then I had all these narrow things, but it should work now. Fingers crossed. So this will be ready. This unit will be ready the day after tomorrow on the 7th. Elections today. I surely will not be voting. I'm really happy with how this turned out. And it's unusual for me to do kind of trim for closer to finish, though obviously this part's not finished. And then it's all sealed around this window. Right now it's just got a wire tie to close it, but it's nice and airtight, and this tunnel is super well insulated. And now it's all closed off, so now I can begin at some point here the migration of the electrical systems, the battery bank and the inverter and charge controller, all that stuff into this tunnel. It's not a priority right now, but over time I'll be able to do it now that this is all closed off and all secured, and I'll be running wires into here and all sorts of stuff. Get some lighting in here. Swap out that shower door for a better door I can lock, and then use that shower door for a shower at some point. Lots of plans, lots of things going on. So the G-Loft unit is completely sealed and winterized. Below there's a kitchen, living room, and above there's the loft, bed, whatever room. And so I finished in here, insulating it, got the chimney all working coming out the back. Put this white vinyl board up and sealed it so that the condensation from the window won't rot out that 2x4, ideally. And just kind of cleaned up in here. So you can see this area over here is all cleaned out and all good. And so now that I've finished in here, and I'm gonna put a spring hinge on here. Right now that door just kind of closes with a little thing against it. But it's all sealed, 6 inches of insulation on the door, so super well insulated and all around this column. And now I'm working on out here, continuing the steps, vanquishing that slope and terracing it. And then encasing the backside of these tires and that berm within the insulation envelope, essentially. So just really happy to be done with this and carrying on. All this firewood in here is just going to dry out really well with the wood stove in here. And that means it burns even more efficiently. And got the new resident moving into this unit tomorrow. And so here's the stairs. I just kind of placed the first one, and then I'm going to work my way up. I plugged off that opening. It's pretty ugly looking with all sorts of insulation panels. Now I want to bring the stairs all the way up to that so that this whole berm here is insulated out several feet from the structure. And somebody playing with panels today. I got a salt block for the boys and some special goat trace minerals, and hopefully that will decrease their destructive inclinations. Probably just trying to fulfill some kind of nutrient deficiency. Need a good bit of copper. Maybe they'll eat less ice and water now. They really like that salt though. They weren't too into the loose stuff. The other stuff is a bag of like loose goat specific trace minerals. This one's mostly salt, but has some trace minerals as well. So they get started on this, and hopefully they'll figure out the other stuff as well. The other stuff I'm also gonna feed it to them with like scratch and mix it with other stuff so they'll eat it. Good boys. Han's face is half asleep. He's half asleep. You got sleepy eye on. You sleepy eye. Right, don't eat that. What you got going on with your eye there, huh? You got a little eye infection. Hey, you eating me? Oh God, what are you doing? Jesus, you boy. You're doing alright there, hon. So my next great idea is to turn this perfectly good water reservoir into a goat hut. So I'm gonna like insulate the top of it and then partly around the sides, and I gotta figure out where to cut a hole into it so that the goats can climb in there and then have a good place to sleep. My latest project was building a door for the wood tunnel in here. So that'll be well insulated and sound blocked as well. Here's how it's going with the goat hut. What do you think of it? Ben, I just went in there for the first time. Benedict. Han is trying to eat foam on the outside. These boys eat a surprising bit of this spray foam, and you'd think it's toxic, but they eat it. I mean, they trust their stomachs, so what do we know? We only got one stomach. So here's the goat hut so far. I just put a little door in it, and I got a window in over there. And otherwise, hot, good eating it. Otherwise, I've just been insulating it. So I got 6 inches on the top, and I got 6 inches on this side over here. So got almost half of it insulated, maybe. And so there's a window here. So they'll be able to have a little bit of light in there. Otherwise, it'll be kind of dark. And that's a cool oven window that came from one of the residents. That'll be like perfect in there. I'll just kind of cut the... Hey, don't need that. Hey. Just have to cut the insulation around that. And then do this wall. And I'm trying to decide if I should put another window on this wall. Make some more light in there. And then I'm going to have to build up a little kind of loft in there so that they're sleeping up near the top of it. And then there's, you can see that PVC piece coming through. Quit eating that. Get out of there. So that's so that there's one roost in there as well. So this PVC thing coming out this side. So there's this one roost up there so that some overflow chickens could stay in there as well. And so I'm just going to put, I think I'm just going to like stack insulation blocks in there and then make kind of like a platform in there for them. And, hey boys, quit eating that. And then I'm going to have to seal up all of this and put like trim board around the exposed insulation. Get out of here. And because the chickens will eat the white foam. The boys will eat the spray foam and the white foam. They seem to like the spray foam more, but they love the ice and water. Hey, get out of there. So it's troublemakers. Come on. All right, that's all. Here's how these stairs are coming. The white edge reflects a lot of light from in there, which is nice. And I'm almost to the top. And I got that drain pipe to drain the other way. So I'm probably just going to do a couple more steps to be done with this at some point. But this is all good for now. And I'm getting some more panels for the goat hut. So at the end of one day, now you see them. Anyways, I'm luring them in to their little den there with some chicken scratch. I might even try to move Gendel in there with them and she can go up on the coop or on the roost. Come in there, buddy. I'm gonna try to get them in. These fishes in here are doing good. There's at least 7. The 4 bigger ones, and then 3 of them are their kids. Chilling. So the goat castle hut thing is just about complete. I covered up most all of the exposed foam with the coal trim board. Whenever I'm at Home Depot, I look at the coal wood they have. And then it has like almost like these little crenellation type things, but this will be like a perch for chickens on the corners. And then this thing as well, another place for chickens to go. And then over there, the extension offers like a place to walk to get over to this thing where they would always go before. And then the extended one over there supports this black thing, so it's a lot more stable for them. So they have another one to get up on there, and the chair, and then there helps them to get up. And then I've got this, the doorway insulated a little bit further down on this side, which closes off the opening a little bit, and I'm gonna close it off a little bit more. But already when you go in there, you can tell the difference in the temperature really quickly. So I just have to close off a couple more of the exposed insulation faces where the chickens and the goats will eat all that, as well as right there where I stashed a whole bunch of cans And so all of this is entirely with cull lumber. All of this like cull lumber trim board. That's a really old crate that is otherwise waste, but it's recycled. And it's got Spider-Man's blessing. And then all the panels were obviously all free and recycled. And then the crate itself that it's all around was recycled, but I think I paid for that one. So I'm just really happy with how this has turned out after 2 days, and just with probably a couple more hours, I can close up the last insulation things and get them used to going in there. And there's a chance I might take out the roosting kind of thing in there for the chickens, just to give the goats more room in there, because it makes more sense to just make it just for goats and then have all the chickens in the other one, but rather than having less space taken up by the roost where there's not even any chickens. All right, well, that's all for now. Oh, other news is that Vangari has moved up in the pecking order. He's now above Arthur, so Arthur is now at the bottom of the pecking order, and Vangari is underneath Butterscotch and working his way up in the pecking order with Dino at the top. Thursday, November 14th, which is the second week of Socorpo, and today my goal is to relocate this Saturn Caravan over to that spot over there in the corner and then insulate it. See how that goes. So the Saturn Caravan has been relocated to its final position, and I started by foaming those first 2 panels on. The longer one up top isn't on yet, but basically just used the slider. I foamed these yesterday, so these are nice and solid now, and I should be able to climb on them. It's got a pretty dinky roof, but I'm basically going to put the thick insulation panels along the edges of the roof, which should get it high enough to get over the AC thing, and then I'll put 6 inches on top of that to cover the whole thing if I can, so that I can get the roof insulated without having to mess with any of the other features, essentially. It's like the easiest way I could imagine doing it. So I got these 2 on today, and I should probably get insulation on the whole roof by the end of today. I also don't know how it's framed. I don't know if it'll be able to hold all the weight, but hopefully it doesn't collapse on me. So insulation update. I put long pieces like in a U around that side and try to get them on the structural elements. Just cut out the antenna and cord from here. And I was thinking I was going to stack 2 layers, but now that I'm doing it, I might just do 1 layer, and just where the AC is, it might not be so insulated, or maybe I'll just have a little double cap where that is. But it's got at least 6 inches there, and as long as I get that well foamed, that's plenty for my purposes. And the less up here, the better for the weight. So put some more pieces in. So here's the camper update on Monday, November 7th, 18th. So I've got this side doesn't have too much, but the other side has got more than half, and the back side is about halfway done, and the top is all done now. So this second layer of the 6-inch panel, that's going over where the AC is. So the AC actually works, and my solution at this point is just to cover it. It's obviously not going to work covered, but if at some point it makes sense to use the AC, those 2 can be taken off and the AC will still work. But the roof is all filled in with insulation. I'm going to cut the foam now and put down some ice and water so that this will all stay dry with the rain coming. I just need to extend this back part. You can see the insulation on the back, and so I need to bring this top layer out wide enough to be level with that. But I just wanted to give a shot of it before I put the ice and water on, so you can kind of see what it's looking like up here. And it's got the 12 inches of insulation everywhere, except this top part just has the 6 inches over where the AC is, with probably about 4 or 5 inches of overlap on the sides. So yeah, onto the ice and water now. Turns out I don't have ice and water. I thought I had ice and water. I thought I had a roll of it, but I don't. So I'm not going to ice and water it. Just going to tarp the top and keep working on the sides. So here's the latest on the Tiny Saturn renovation. Turning this Saturn camper into like a little tiny house because it's going to be immobile now. So I've got the insulation panels 6 inches on the sides, 12 inches on the top. I got the tarp secured on the top. And then I'm doing some umbrella insulation around the side to keep the freeze line out from underneath of it, so the water lines won't freeze in the wintertime. So I've just got this little bit up here to insulate. I've got to figure out how to get behind this kind of awning thing. The outlets, there's a water outlet there. So I've kept open the outlets I've needed to keep open. I'm almost done. I've got about 4 or 5 days left. I'm gonna do a groundwork, extend this umbrella insulation on this side, and patch up these holes. And then I'm thinking I might do some kind of clear plastic on the outside of the insulation over the windows, because all those windows are single pane. I got the propane system working, the electric working, everything but the hot water at this point working. And then the septic will work for like number 1, but not number 2. And so that's the update. I'll give you one more update probably in the next couple days once it's all finished and it's ready for its resident who's moving in at the first of the month. The boys are gonna test the patience of myself as they try to eat insulation and do naughty things. It's been a rainy, cold day. It's like 2 p.m. So I'm about 2 hours of work today before sunset. So this is kind of funny. As I was trying to figure out the systems and everything in here, I was like, oh, I wish this thing had an odors manual. I was looking online for all sorts of stuff and ended up finding this, like, behind the trash in the bottom. Mice had got into it. I don't even know how much of I can even, like, access, but I'm going to go through and try to document as much of this owner's manual as I can before this thing just disintegrates. So it's Tuesday, December 10th. This will be the final update on the Tiny Saturn renovation. It's performing very well. And one little addition I did was to just use some panels to cover up the 2 propane tanks there. And yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, and then also for the heat over here, I use this little, it's kind of ghetto, but I use this little pipe to extend the heat out beyond the insulation panels. There's holes on either side of the pipe because that's the inlet, intake for the air. And then the hot air comes out the pipe there. And then there's just like a little piece of metal that's like pinning the pipe up against the side of the Tiny Saturn so that all the hot air goes through the pipe and exhausts there. So that's been working well. The heat in there generally has been working really well. In the future, or I'm considering sometime in the future, I might kind of make that entirely enclosed around those propane tanks and then also put a battery there so that this will have its own like battery just in case the power runs out. It'll have its own backup. But yeah, that's the end of the Saturn camper converted into the Tiny Saturn because it's now immobile. And the only last projects for the fall are basically getting firewood and just cleaning up and expanding the power system. And I might at some point do a video about the upgraded power system, but that'll be it. Another day of recycling panels here in December, or now we're in Trinitas in the loading calendar. Got 1 trailer load so far, trailer number 2, probably get at least 2, maybe 3 more trailers, we'll see. Load number 3 was by far the sketchiest. Should be the longest one. At least 1 more load, see if I can get it before it's dark. So late fall, about 6 days till the solstice, and I finally got into collecting firewood. Mostly just finding dead wood, some standing dead wood. Some of this stuff here was more like died last year, like in the spring, summer-ish, maybe fall, I don't know. But yeah, that's 2 loads. Here's a 3rd load, and I'm getting the firewood in. It is Wednesday, December 18th. I'm trying to do a very difficult maneuver. Turns out I didn't really leave myself a conduit big enough. It's only like a 1-inch conduit there. And I'm trying to fish through wires, 6 of these, I think they're like 10 gauge maybe, wires. Plus 1 of these. So I got the little fish thing through. And I'm trying to like push these up and then pull through. And I've got them all the way up to like the elbow. Right underneath here. I just cut this PVC thing to make it a little bit shorter, so you're not going to really be able to see, but I've got it just past the elbow and I'm trying to get it all the way. I'm having, this is the greatest difficulty point of this. Can't really pull it, can't really push it, it's tight in there. I'm trying to get it past this elbow, having a lot of difficulty. It'd probably work a lot better with 2 people, 1 pushing, 1 pulling, but doing what I can, but just me. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but I got it past the corner, and then the end of the fish broke off. So I got the wire in there, and now I'm pretty much just screwed. I gotta pull it back out if I even can, and try to redo the fish, but that's all I'm gonna get to today. I had to cut this cord on this panel to try to fish it through, And I thought I was making progress, and ultimately moving backwards. Total fail. Success! So I had to do 3 different strategies yesterday, all of which failed. I ended up soaking the concrete with the blood of my knuckles, trying to get it through, and tried different things. Then I had to undo everything I did, and then send through just 2 wires at first. So then I got 2 wires through, and then I tried to send through another 3 wires after the 2, which almost didn't work, but after a lot of effort, it did work. So at the end of the day, it took 2 full days to basically get the wire through the conduit, but success. These 2 panels are reconnected, and right now I'm just about to wire these 2 panels to get them connected up here, and then I'll run that wire down to the tunnel under there, which is where the new battery bank is going to be. So there will be at least 2 wired to there. I might end up trying to wire 2 more through, snake 2 more through there, but not today, and we'll figure that out in the future. But I'm gonna get these 2 hooked up, and with those 2 hooked up, then I can, and with the wire ran, then I can work on getting the battery bank down there set up. Should be 4 lithium iron phosphate oxypercolate, something like that, batteries. And then I ordered 3 more because I got a really good deal on them. I think it was like $115 for a 100 amp hour battery, which is great. And so I'm gonna it's gonna end up being 6 batteries in that battery bank, and then I'm gonna get 1 other battery, which I'm gonna hook up to the little Tiny Saturn over there, so that it has its own battery backup, which should hook up really easily into that power system there. So finally, success. Lots of failure followed by success. So the final update here is that I've got this battery thing. Got it all cemented under there. This tray is this recycled tray I got off the side of the road, took it off the cart, and spray painted it to refurbish it. So we've got the 4 batteries mostly hooked up. I'm in the process of making wires, adding the terminals to these 2 gauge wires. And I've got the inverter mounted, so I'm most of the way done. Just have to finish this up, and then here's the wire coming through from the first 2 solar panels that'll hook up to here, as well as the 12-volt wire to get me some light up top. And so yeah, that's the last update of the week. I got 4 more loads of insulation panels and a couple more, 1 or 2 more loads of firewood. And that's about it. There's probably going to be really no project updates for the winter time, but there are going to be other updates. There's all sorts of interesting developments going on here. So I'll have another update by around the end of the month, early January. I'll give you a plot update, a lot of plot updates going on. And then I'll have another geopolitical video at some point soon, because there's all sorts of stuff going on with that. All sorts of developments before the inauguration day. So that's about it. Thanks for tuning in.